Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's academy. My name is Karim Rawas. I'm a project manager at Odoo. I've implemented a lot of projects where we deal with all different industries, all different type of clients. In today's academy, we're gonna be mainly focusing on CRM. We're gonna go over what is Odoo in its simple terms for the people who are new, for the people who are having this session as their first introduction towards what is Odoo, what is ERP. But mainly we're going to be focusing on CRM for today. CRM, customer relationship management software. We're going to understand why it is vital for us. How do we understand it? How do we implement it? And then how we could utilize this kind of software for our own business. For today, we're going to be talking about from lead to paid with Odoo. So we're gonna be talking about how we could initiate a contact with a client, with a customer, how we could showcase that on the system. After that, how we could enhance this lead with all the information that we have from dealing with them, from doing meetings, from sending emails, discussing, enhancing the deal. For that lead to turn into an opportunity. And what's the difference between a lead and an opportunity? Moving on towards an opportunity, we could enhance that even further. We could follow our pipeline to see which opportunities to focus on. And then hopefully we could generate a quotation from which we could create a sales order and invoice the client and close the deal and get paid. So for the agenda for today, we're gonna first talk about the introduction. So how are we gonna manage this academy? So for today, I like to showcase an example from a previous company that came through Odoo with real life requirements. We dealt with them by building up the scope. We understood what they need, what they wanted, what are their problems, what are the issues that they want to get fixed, and why choosing Odoo would help them with that. And then we're gonna follow these steps as a consultant on the project. So we're gonna act as if the person who's implementing. We're gonna understand how we will use Odoo and how we will implement the system towards this project, this client. So after that, we're gonna understand how we create opportunities, how we could manage them, how we could create sales teams to track every sales team's pipe. We're gonna look at quotations, manage the sales, do all of the analysis as like in the end we're gonna fill these data. All of this type of data should be utilized, should be used for high level, top level managers, owners to fully take advantage, to understand. So we're gonna look at the reporting, we're gonna look at who are the best performers and so on. We're gonna look at some advanced settings, and if you have any questions, we're gonna push the questions towards the end. So in general, Odoo is an all-in-one solution. So it could merge all of your requirements under one platform. So for previous or other customers outside of the Odoo environment, they may have multiple applications or platforms that you're using to manage their company's needs. So they could have their data on Excel, then they could use some sort of CRM platform, then they could use some selling platform, and then they're following all of that on their accounting on a third or fourth platform and so on. So this is hectic. There's a lot of data going back and forth. There's a lot of dummy work where it requires an individual to move the data, shift the data, analyze, audit everything that's going on. This takes a lot of time, investment, and resources. So in that case, Odoo came up with the solution. We could have all of your requirements under one platform, whatever you need to start, like from, let's say, the CRM stage, all of that will lead directly into the sales. And when you're selling, all of the data, information, dues, invoices, all of that will get reflected in your accounting in the end. So it's one environment where you could manage everything that your company would require. In this scenario for today, let's say the selling from a lead from the beginning till the end, getting paid. So for today, we're gonna be training. So usually this kind of session, I would like for the people watching to follow with me. So we're gonna share the presentation, we're gonna share the data. I want you guys to create a database. In that scenario, when we go through each and every step, I would like you guys to try by yourselves. So this would be benefit. This would benefit you in a way that you have hands-on experience with the system, and wherever you may face troubles, we could solve them together towards the end in the Q&A. But I will be showcasing or demoing each and every step for the people who are just watching and want to know exactly how things are done. I'll be there as well to showcase a quick demo of every step as we go along the way. And for this slide, you could scan the QR code for the presentation, as the presentation has a lot of details. It has information on the database to create a database. It has information on the Excel files that will be importing down the line. There's a lot of details, a lot of information. You could always refer back to this presentation. So if you could, I'll pause a bit here. So you could scan the QR code and then we're gonna move on. Okay, moving on. So this other QR code will be linking towards the place where I'm gonna read all of your questions. So if you could submit your questions through this pad.odoo.com link, or you could scan the QR code as well, just so you could access the questions. And I'll be, at the end of the session, I'll go through them one by one, trying to help you as much as I can. As I said again, I've implemented a lot of projects. So whatever I feel like I could give you from my previous examples of with dealing with previous clients, previous companies, I'll be pushing that data or that information towards you guys. So hopefully you'll be conceptualizing everything I'm talking about and understanding why every step is important. Okay. So this is the next slide. This is very important. This is where you could create your database. It's an empty database. It's a very clean database. We're gonna be filling the information. We're gonna be creating it specifically towards this company. Make sure when you're creating your database to verify the email. So once you create the database and set your email and log in, make sure to open your email, your Gmail, your Hotmail, whatever it is, and verify that database, as it will expire. If you don't verify the database, it will expire. Hello, everyone. I'll just wait on somebody on the chat just to confirm that the links are working. Hello, Yusuf. Hello, Ramya. Hello, Wael. Hello, everyone. I'll be moving on once somebody confirms that they created a database, or they're able to open the links at least. And if you guys want me to go back to the presentation link, I could do that as well. Okay, I'll be moving on. You could always go back to the video. So some things that we need to keep note of, something that we need to understand before we start working with software is knowing the definitions that I'm going to use, the key terms, the key words. So a pipeline. So in a CRM, as I said, there's going to be leads, there's going to be opportunities, and these leads and opportunities we need to keep track of. Perfect. Thank you, Muhammad. So for these leads and opportunities, I will be managing towards on a certain stage. This stage we call a pipeline. The database link is not clickable. Let me check from my end. So it's at the end, it's here. So if you click on the link, it should look like this. This page should pop up, edu-CRM Academy, and you could copy as a student. And if this doesn't work, if this does not work, you could always try it for free. If you press on the try it for free button, you could create your own database and you could follow along. It's the same thing. The bottom left. I'll try to minimize the QR code. Let me try scanning from my phone. Yeah, it works for me on my phone as well. And you could follow along through your Odoo database through your mobile phone as well. That's a nice thing, صراحة. So for everyone who don't have the database link working for them, which is over here, you could create a free trial database. Sure, I could put the link here. Hopefully it doesn't block me. Sure. I'll put the presentation link as well. Let me share the link. So hopefully you'll have access to the presentation, you'll have access to the database and information and so all of that. Okay. So let's continue. So I was talking about the pipeline. So we have leads that get turned into opportunities. The moment they turn is when we believe that this lead is credible enough. There is potential. I could sell this person. I could sell this business. I could sell this customer. So that's when it becomes an opportunity, a chance. And for a lead to turn to an opportunity, we need to have more understanding. Why did that become a thing? Why do I believe I'm going to be able to sell this person or this customer? So when we have hundreds or thousands of leads and we want to keep track of every lead, and that is when we need a software like Odoo or a CRM platform in general. You could fill in all of these details, all of this information, such as the last meeting minutes that you've done. So whatever you discussed, what are they interested in? Do we have availability for all of the things that they need? Can we suffice the requirements? How urgent, what type of client they are, what type of customer. Are they like something I've been watching yesterday on while I was like learning about customer experiences. Like some people like to put color types on towards customers. So for example, a red customer is a customer that is concrete, needs answers, needs credible results. A blue customer is technical, needs to see like scientific data and proof. A yellow needs to warm up to you, and so on. So like whatever you think could help turn this lead to an opportunity and get this sale to go through, usually fill that on a platform. And when you have thousands and thousands of leads, when your business grows and you have more and more leads getting generated, your salespeople are working, they're analyzing a lot of information, you would need a system to manage all of that. So these leads would be listed on a pipeline. So the pipeline is basically what the salesperson looks at when they need to know what to manage. So which leads should I talk to today? How should I manage it? Who are the opportunities that I need to focus, I need to close by the end of the quarter, and so on. They could track his performance, he could track his targets, he could track their leads, opportunities, and so on. And each sales team would have their own pipeline. So if I have, for example, a sales team here in the GCC area, I have a sales team in the Levant, in Lebanon, for example, I'll have two different pipes, and so like the leads wouldn't get mixed up. So I could have pipelines separated by country, by region, if it's by industry. If I do like B2B, B2C, I could do that as well. So the steps inside the pipeline, there is multiple steps. So they represent the journey of how the lead moves from initiation up until closing. So initiation, we create the information. Now it's credible. If it's an opportunity, we move it to the next stage, negotiation stage. It would be called that, where we do a lot of negotiation, a lot of back and forth. Then if like I send a quotation, it's like we're analyzing, we're doing a solution. We could have a step for that. And if the client closes, we could have a ending step where we list off all of the leads or all of the opportunities that we had, and that we were able to close. And if we were not able to close, we could have a step for loss. If we lost this opportunity, we could mention why. So even when we do not gain a sale from a client, we could gain something out of it. So we would know how to be better, how to enhance our system, how to enhance our business, our salespeople, moving forward down the line. So a lead, as I've been saying all along, it's a potential opportunity, usually unqualified. It could be something like from a cold call or a LinkedIn profile of a customer, or somebody that randomly you approached. So you don't have a lot of information in regards to. And the opportunity is once you fill up all of the requirements, and the requirements could be, they could vary from one business to another. So some companies, they believe like if I only have the email and the address, this is enough for me to consider it as an opportunity, while others know, like they need to know the requirements as well, build up a solution. This is when, okay, this is a real opportunity that I need to focus on. Activities. So having thousands of opportunities, having thousands of information of data you need to collect and track and keep up with, it's hard for, let's say, a salesperson to know exactly their priorities right. It's like, what should I do today? So this is where a software like Odoo comes in. You could create activities. So for every lead that you do, you could create activities. For example, the moment it gets created, okay, I should do a call within the week. I should send a quotation by the end of the month. I should follow up with emails after every meeting. So these activities could be created, and these activities will be tracked per salesperson. So every salesperson will be able to track their own activities and know what's assigned towards their own requirements for today, for example. They could also see like what are the late activities, the things they haven't done that got delayed. They could see like their future ones. So it's very important for every CRM platform to have activities set. So this would be the main way for every salesperson to know what to do and what's remaining ahead of them. So for today, as I said, we're gonna take an example, which is a company that actually was implemented through us. So I dealt with this requirements before, and we're gonna go step by step to see like how we were able to fulfill their requirements and their needs. So Airproof is a company active in the drones and electronic devices resale. So they sell electric drones. It's in Europe, it's legal there. Your company would like to manage its opportunities and sales thanks to an all-in-one software. So that's why they approached us. They wanted one solution, all-in-one solution for their business. So for this scenario, I'll be the sales manager in the company. So what I need to think about as a sales manager is the contacts. How do I keep track of customer information, which is the contacts? How do I create opportunities? How can I do that through the software? Manage your opportunities, how to manage them, what activities to set on them, and manage your sales teams. How do I track the sales teams under me that are working for every division or region or requirement or industry. And create your quotations. I want to see the quotations getting created for these opportunities after all of that work, and hopefully manage my sales orders at the end. So the part one is the general configurations. We're gonna be configuring the database towards this scenario. So we're gonna look at this scenario and this business and try to implement based on the information required on by this case study. So for the first thing we do is we fill up the company information. As once we do that on Odoo, every invoice, every sales order, every document that gets generated from the system will utilize this information to generate, like let's say our addresses, our tax IDs, whatever it could be, and it will reflect all in our reports and our PDFs and so on. So the first example is, the first requirement is we need to fill up the company information. So Airproof, it's located in Qatar. There's the logo. We have 2 employees which are users. So there's going to be 2 users using the system. So for this first case scenario, I'll be creating the information. As I said, I'll be moving along, but it's always good for you guys to do it yourselves. So this is the database. The first thing when you create the database, this is the first view you'll see. You'll have every application related towards your business, or every module listed in front of you. It's very easy. If you've ever used a smartphone, you'd know how to use Odoo. I believe so. For example, if we're talking about CRM, there's a module called CRM. When you open it, it opens everything related to the CRM. We're going to be exploring it today. But for now, for this first scenario, we need to fill up the information of the company. So we do that by going to the settings. So the first thing you do when you create a new database is to start adjusting your configurations on the settings module. The moment you open it, you'll see the general settings pop up. We could have multiple languages. So we have English, Arabic. If in Lebanon, there is any French speakers. 2 employees have to be users. So not every employee in the company is a user, but every person using the system should be a user. You know what I mean? So for example, a sales manager may need to have a user so he could open the reports, analyze what they're doing, an inventory, or like a salesperson who's using the system to create quotations, he should have a user to create these quotations. But for example, if you have a worker, a delivery man, somebody who's dealing with transportation of goods, somebody who's dealing with the papers, documents, and so on, and they're not directly creating an operation or creating an action, they shouldn't be. They don't need to be users. You could just fill them as employees on the system, just to keep track of their information, their contracts. If you have HR, you could do all of that. But for now, we're gonna be focusing on these 2 employees because these will be using the system. Thomas Dupont and Mary Mann. So for now, before I create the users, I'll need to fill in the information. So I'll go to the companies and update info. So I'll take the company information, Airproof. I have the logo here. I'll download the logo. I have the logo ready. I'll put the company information, West Bay Doha, Qatar. Doha. Let me put Qatar. Okay. No need for the state. They don't have a state. Okay. So I've filled in any information I've received from this document or this slide. I'll be moving on towards adding the users. So this is where I added the information. And another point is very important if I'm dealing with Qatar, most likely I'll be dealing with the rules, laws, taxes, regulations of Qatar. So always go to the accounting module or the invoicing module that you have and make sure that you install the localization of the country you're working in. For example, it's set for now UAE. So the system already added everything we know about UAE, from taxes, charts of account that they use, how do they manage their document layouts, and so on. And because of that we have a lot of experience with a lot of different customers or companies in the Middle East, for every country so far that we are established in, we have a localization package that is ready to go. So the moment you create a database, you could install this localization package, and you'll have everything required for you to be initiated towards running your business through Odoo. For this scenario, we'll need to have Qatar. So I'm going to save that. And the moment I save this localization, it'll update everything from taxes, the way the invoices look, the way the rules and regulations require from a business to operate. We already analyze, we already research based on what our clients need, and we implement that ready to go. So you wouldn't need extra configuration or effort from your side. So make sure always to have on your accounting or invoicing module the correct fiscal localization set based on the country you're operating in. Okay. So now that I've updated the company information, I'm gonna be interested in adding the users. So now we have only one active users. We're gonna manage users and we're gonna create new users. So for the first example, it's Thomas Dupont. And this is his email. So for this scenario, let's say he's an administrator for now. We're not sure, but I'm gonna set it as this. Now, when we're creating a user, I'm gonna just go back after I save. You access the users either from the general settings, you press on manage users, or you press on the top, users and companies, and you press on users. So now that I'm in the users list, users page, I'll see a collection of every user utilizing the system. So for example, Thomas. Now Thomas, let's say he's a sales manager, for example. So I would like for him to have access towards our sales module because he'll be able to sell. And he's an administrator, so I'm going to set him as an administrator. That means he has access also to the analysis, to the reporting side of the module. But in this scenario, I don't want him to access accounting, for example, or projects. So I could set it as no. If it's no, that means he will not have access towards the projects module. Other than that, do I want him to create products? I could allow him. Create contacts, I could allow him. Export the data, I could allow that. So for every user you create, they could have a certain set of privileges based on their job title. And you could adjust that through this page. Now that I've adjusted this person's information, I'll just save that. And I could create an employee here. So I created a user page for him. On this button, it will create an employee page for him as well. It's going to take the same information, but now this is the difference between an employee and a user. A user is a worker or an employee who's utilizing the Odoo system, which is limited towards him doing actions. He'll be able to do actions. He's going to be able to do orders, manage, report back. And employee is just a contact that you keep track of. You keep track of their contract, their information, their payroll, their whatever it could be. So you could have a lot of employees, but only like a couple of users utilizing the system. We could create the next one really fast. And we'll adjust the privileges later. I'll create another employee. So this is it. I've created the users. I've updated the information on the for the company, I'll be moving on. So now you see that in Odoo, leads, every lead could have a contact connected to it. So a contact is a line that you could keep track of all of the details that is regarded a certain individual. It could be a business, it could be a user, it could be a company, it could be an employee. So for this page, we have all of these contacts. There's 4 contacts. Some of them I have the name, some I know their company name, and email information. Not everyone has a phone. Not everyone has is connected to a company. So in this scenario, we should create the 4 contact cards, and we do that by going to settings, going to the contact module. So now every user is also a contact, but not only contacts wouldn't be only people regarding to our own employees in the company. It could also be the vendors. It could also be the customers. It also could be companies. It could also be individuals. So almost every type of person or individual or entity the system is dealing with or connected with, you could create a contact for. For the first scenario, I'll be creating this one. She's an individual person. She works for Think AB. Think AB. She has an email. We have an address. And we have a tag. Tags are especially useful as you could filter out in this scenario, as we see, like all of the B2B clients. We could have all of the VIP, or if she's the owner of the company, I could set an owner tag. So if I want to instantly directly see or filter out all of the owners, all of the B2B clients I have, all of the contacts that I need to keep track of, I could utilize tags for that. So tags are very useful. So let's create the next one. So now if you see, like, there's a Mary Clary or Mary Claire in Think AB, and we have Think AB as a company also created as well. So we have 2 contacts. So now if I create the next one, Jean-Claude, he'll, I pressed something by mistake. This X would supposedly would change. I'll create a new one. Jean-Claude. So this drop-down list is Odoo itself searching the net for existing information. So if there's public information worldwide regarding this individual or this company, it could scrape the data from the online websites and add it to the system as instantly, just so you have a really easy way to create contacts on the fly. So this person is from the Think AB company, and because like I set the company address, it showed up instantly on the contact that I set on it. It's in Belgium, I think. Belgium. I'll create the next one. For example, this contact, we don't know the company name, so we're gonna skip that. And we have the email. We have the address. B2 B2C. Perfect. And for the final contact, we only have the company. France. Let's say I don't have any extra information. The only thing you need to create a contact is the name. So if you only have the name, you could create a contact. B2B. Done. So that's it for this page. We're gonna move on. So this is the autocomplete functionality. So if I create, for example, a new contact, for example, Apple, let's say it's called Alphabet, I think. For example, this is a company that is listed online. It scraped all of the data and it tells you it took all of the data you see over here on the right. It tells you where it took the data from. It tells you industries, it tells you information. So the autocomplete feature is useful in a way. Let's move on. So now we created our contacts. We're gonna move on to our leads and opportunities. So let's say in this scenario, I met 5 people at an event. This is the information I gathered from them. So for me to create leads and opportunities, I'll be utilizing the CRM module. So I'll head to the CRM module. And this is my own pipeline. As you can see, there's the My Pipeline filter on the top. And I could see my pipe consists of 4 stages. It cannot be create a contact automatically when I add the user or employee. I couldn't understand your question exactly, but it does create a user and it could create an employee automatically if that's what you want. But for this scenario, we're moving on towards like creating them individually. There is even ways to mass import, mass create through an Excel file and so on. So for this example, again, if any questions need to be answered, you could always put them in the sheet in the slide that I sent for the Q&A. For this pipeline, this will be my own pipeline. It consists of 4 steps. The new, when they're still leads, qualified when they became opportunities, proposition when I create the quotation, and one if I was able to land the deal. So for this example, I'm gonna create a new lead. It's gonna be Julian, for example. So I'm gonna create a new one, and this is how it looks like. You add the company if you have it. So for this, we don't have a company. We have a contact. I don't know if the contact wasn't created before, you could create it from here. So it's not that you have to open the contacts module every time to create a contact. You could create it from anywhere where a contact is needed. And now we have his email, we'll add it. We have his phone, we'll add that. And we'll have the expected revenue, so how much I expect to win if this deal was closed. This could be changed every time, doesn't matter. And the priority, so how much I believe this contact is worth me following up with, how much this lead is credible. So now that I added it, this is how it's gonna appear. You could press on it and you could fill any information that you want to fill. We're gonna talk about it down the line, but this is where you could fill all of the information that you want to fill regarding this lead. I'll create the next ones. I believe Asterix could be a company, so I'm gonna assume so. Add the information. And let's say for this, I don't have any more information other than that. So I'm gonna put like a low priority and add it. It's a low cost, low revenue lead, so I'm not gonna have any priority set on it. Decathlon France, for example. Save. I'll have it a high priority. So this is how you do it manually. It's very easy, very simple. And this lead you could change it by dragging it between all across the different steps. But for this scenario, we're gonna look at it step by step. Now that I have all of these opportunities added, you could see the total expected revenue here. So it's like 423,000. You could track who's assigned to it. For example, it's me in this scenario. You could see if there's any activities connected to it, the priorities, the contacts that got created because of it, and so on. So let's move on. So for this scenario, you want to adapt your pipeline with your own stage names so that they are more connected to your business. You want the second step to be called first contact instead of qualified. So instead of qualified, instead of the current stage name, I want to edit this. So I'll press on the settings icon button over here and edit. Instead of qualified, I'll say second stage, for example. And you can adjust if it's folded, if it's hidden. Routing days, we have routing feature on the step. If things don't work, highlight opportunities that haven't been updated for this many days, set to 0 to disable. So if you have your salespeople, if you want them to always be working on hot and ready or active leads, you could have a routing feature turned on the stage. So now to the next one. You realize that asterisk and obelix opportunities are duplicates. If you want to merge them into single opportunity to avoid duplicates. Okay, so now let's say I have salespeople that are working on the same lead at the same time. So in that case, I want to clean out my pipe so that there wouldn't be duplicated leads and I'll waste my salespeople's time. So in this scenario, I could press on these two opportunities. So first, we were in the Kanban view. This Kanban view is the standard way to look at your CRM stages. But we have different views if you'd like. So we have list, we have calendar, we have pivot view, graph, map, activity. So you could, depending on the type of business you have, you could see like one way is better for you and another. You could choose that. For this scenario, I could look at the list view. I could highlight two opportunities that I'm working on. I could press on actions and duplicate. No, sorry, not duplicate. I could merge. So now when I merge it, it'll ask me who's the salesperson that will be assigned on it. So let's say it's me. If it was in the case of there was two different salespeople working on the same lead, who should I give it to? So now on this opportunity, you could see on the right, like everything I've done on it so far. When did I create it? The time, who did it, who created it. It gets recorded on the chatter box. This is what we call the chatter box. And then merged. When I merged it, it says who merged it, at what time did I merge it, and which contact is now the main contact for me to talk to approach for this opportunity. So now if you go back to the Kanban view, you'll see that one of them got removed and it got merged towards the asterisk opportunity. After discussion with their director, the decathlon opportunity falls through as they consider our products too expensive. You want to reflect this in your CRM. So now, unfortunately, in business, there are some leads or opportunities that get lost. They lose interest, they find our competitors' pricing better, whatever it could be. So for all of these scenarios, I would like to keep track of the lost opportunities as well, because I want to gain from it. I want to see how it could be better. For the next lead that comes through that's similar to this one, I want to win that. I don't want to do the same mistakes. I want to approach it in a better way. So that's why we also have the lost button, mark as lost. In this scenario, when I press on lost, I could put why did we lose it. So in this scenario, in this example, it was too expensive. Our products were too expensive. So I could choose that. I could have multiple ones. I could create my own ones. And if there's any note, if we got an additional discount, we could have landed this deal, for example. I'll mark as lost. So regarding the merge, no, we merged the person who put the lead, not the lead itself. No, we merged the lead itself, but you could assign which person to manage the new lead. So you could change the information on the new lead that is the new one that is merged. You could set who's assigned on it. But moving on back to our example, this opportunity was lost. It will have this red lost ribbon. You're gonna see on the right as well the recorded information on why it was lost, too expensive, and the comment that I've set. So everything is tracked. Everything you'll be able to track, to look at, and when we come back to the analysis or reporting part of this scenario, you'll be able to see as well why this got lost, and you could filter towards all of the leads that got lost together, like all of the too expensive, all of the leads that saw that it was our products are too expensive. You could merge them, you could look at them, you could analyze them, you could see why this happened. So you could adjust your selling strategy and hopefully land more deals. Moving on. So now I've created the opportunities. We've seen how we could adjust or tweak these opportunities, but now we need to manage them. We need to enrich them. We need to build up these opportunities, make sure that we could land a sale. So in order to do that, now that we have opportunities in our CRM, we need to manage the communication and follow up with these potential clients, but also with my teammates. If I want somebody to be assigned on it, somebody to work on it. So for this scenario, we need to remember to create a call. So we're going to create a call for next Monday for Julian. So I could follow up on this opportunity. So how would I create an activity? It's through the button on the right. Very simple. You press on it. You could have multiple type of activities and you could create new ones if you want. But these are the standard ones. For this scenario, we're going to do call. So we're going to choose the call button. Due date, we're going to do it for next Monday. I'm going to assign it to Mary. She knows how to call people. She's good at that. We're going to say, do a follow-up call for the client where you remind them of their exclusive discount. And I'll save this. So now that I created this activity, you'll see that on the right, it gets recorded for Mary Man, due in 6 days for Mary to call, and all of the instructions or information that I've set. And you could see when it was created, by who, when it is due, and so on. And let me create a to-do for myself. Follow up on this lead by before end of the month, for example. So I'm gonna put it before end of the month. So let's say a day before. I'll save. So we're gonna get to adding more notes on the lost section. It's all in the configuration lost reasons. You go to configuration lost reasons and you add more lost reasons. So now I created another activity for me due by the end of the month. How would I be able to track my activities? It's all through the top right button over here that looks like the clock. You press on it, you'll see that under the leads, I have one in for the future, which is this one that I just created. And you can see all of your activities for today, all of the ones that you're late on, and so on. So activities are very useful. When I tell you they're the most important part, they are the most important part. For us, especially like how we manage to deal with all of our clients in the Middle East, we have a lot of activities on every lead. So the moment a lead gets created, we create like 10 to 20 activities from now till 180 days later, just to follow up on every step or action that we need to do to make sure that we're providing the best customer experience, all of the information that we need to provide, follow up, closing deals, making sure everything is aligned with our managers and the customer themselves. So having activities scheduled the moment you create leads is very important because you never forget if you're utilizing the system properly. So let's move on. Again, as I said, this is where you'll find your own activities. New activity type. So now, as I said, like you just asked, there is you could have more than one lost reason. You could have more than one activity type that's not listed on the system. You could create those. So in this scenario, we're gonna create a new activity. I want for my type of business, I want a summary email for every call or lead that we manage. So we're gonna go to the configuration and go down to activity types. So these are the pre-existing ones. We're gonna create a new one. Schedule and summary email. Schedule a summary email. Action. So what is the type of action that should be associated? Is it like upload a document, phone call, meeting, signature? For now, it's none. Just send an email. Dashboard visibility. Is it on all activities, all activities? Who's the default user? If there's someone always that's managing this. For example, let's say I'm creating an activity for a solution in pre-sales engineer in my company to always start the pre-sales operation. So if one person is always managing the pre-sales thing, you could assign him as default user. Of course, you could change it case by case. But for now, the most important thing is to schedule. This could be always done, for example, 5 days after the previous activity, or whenever a previous activity gets completed, start 5 days after. This will be due date 5 days after, or is it from the deadline? So if I say I assume the previous activity should be done on Monday, so it's 5 days after Monday. This is for the scheduling, which we're gonna go into. And if there's a standard email template that I always use when I say send a summary email, I could choose that. If there's none, I could create. And this template will be always used. So when I'm sending this email, it will be always available for the salesperson to have, just maybe the client name, and send it. And this is like any notes you need to add. So now I created a new activity. Now you need to share this information with your colleagues so they can follow up during your vacation. You log a note of chatter of Julian Dubois' opportunity to summarize this internal needs by mentioning your colleague Thomas Dupont. So now, in this scenario, I'm going on vacation, I'm busy, I can't deal with this client at this given moment, so I want to hand it over to someone else, another salesperson. So in this scenario, I'll log a note. So log notes are internal communication on this opportunity itself. So when I press on a log note, I could, for example, add someone, add Thomas. Please deal with this client until I come back from my vacation. The log a note. And this will send a notification message towards Thomas on his system as a user to follow up on this opportunity. The send message button will send an email to whoever following this opportunity, which is me, and for example, Mary, because she's assigned the activity on it. And if there is the email of the customer set on the opportunity or on the client, email is set, it would send an email towards him as well. So you could send emails directly from the Odoo platform. If you want to even keep track of your emails and replies towards emails and everything on the system, so you know that the salespeople in your company, they're managing their system correctly, they're doing their work. You could send emails directly through Odoo as well. So log notes are internal, activities are for the tasks, and send message is for communication through email. Perfect. Moving on. Manage your sales teams. What if you're using view on documents for CRM? Is there a delegate option that adds the other person onto the CRM or just one-to-one? So regarding, before I move on, whoever is assigned on this salesperson, it will affect his metrics. So if I'm not the person assigned on him on this opportunity anymore, Thomas is, all of the expected revenue, the closing opportunities or whatever I'm talking about regarding my salespeople, it will be set towards Thomas DuPont instead of me. So every opportunity could be delegated towards one salesperson at any given time, but you could change it whenever you believe it needs to be changed. Because this is very important for the future when once you use the system more, you're utilizing more information, you would usually want to have commission plans in the future. So if you have commissions, you'd like to give commissions towards an individual or like one salesperson, whoever gets assigned towards their leads. So in this scenario, one salesperson is assigned for every lead. Okay. So now I've created my opportunity. I'm managing it. I'm enriching it. And before I continue, I just want to make sure that you could add any information here, like any information, meeting summary. The client believes the client is interested in our premium packages, and so on. You could add images, you could upload files, you could add any information you believe that would help you with this opportunity. Okay, this is like how you enrich it, how you add information. You could have extra fields, you could have extra contact information, whatever it is. There's internal communication, there's emails, you could see it on the right. So instead of delegating, I'm reassigning it. So in this scenario, in this example, I delegated without reassigning it. It's still under my lead, under my pipe, but I just told Thomas to deal with it until I come back. So it is one-to-one. For every opportunity, it will have one salesperson. Okay. So let's say Julian's opportunity is becoming more credible. I believe he's really interested in purchasing. So I'm going to move him towards the second stage. So in the second stage now, in my pipe, you'll see that the expected revenue went over to the next one with all of the information that I've set on it. And then proposition is when I create a quotation, and one when I close the deal. So let's manage our sales teams themselves. You want to create a new B2B sales team to sell your drones to companies. Thomas is the head of this team. You decide to create an email address where all opportunities will be centralized. Okay. So now, as a company, we do receive inquiries. We do receive information. When I receive it, if I receive it towards a certain email, it could create a lead. So every time this email receives any information, it will create a lead on our CRM. So every company or client or customer or business that's approaching us through email, I'll have it listed on my CRM so I could follow up down the line and build it and sell them and win this order and so on. But in some scenarios, I may have multiple emails. One email for B2B, one email for like a country specific sales teams, one email for like a specific product, one email for help desk, customer support, one email for the sales team, and so on. So when I receive a certain email towards one certain domain, I want to make sure that it's getting listed towards a specific industry or like a team that should be assigned on this lead and properly deal with this lead. So in this scenario, I'm going to create a new sales team. So if we go back to the database configuration, we'll see the sales team option under configuration. We'll press on it. For now, we have, let's say this is the B2C sales, B2C sales. I'm the team leader. This is the alias that's working on the B2C sales and so on. I'm going to create a new one, B2B sales. The team leader is Thomas. Let's say B2B at our domain. And this domain can be changed towards your own company domain. If it's Outlook or Gmail, we could change the hosting. But if you don't have that option, you could use the Odoo domain. If you, as the standard domain for you guys, if you receive a lead towards B2B at this domain, it will create a lead on your pipe. Accepts email from everyone, partners, followers, so only people in my contacts, authenticated employees, invoicing target. Now on this team, I could have a target. Is it listed here how much this target is needed? Not yet. And I could have members. So the team leader is Thomas. Under him, I could have multiple users as salespeople working towards achieving the invoicing target under this team, where Thomas will be managing them and so on. So now I have two different teams. One is B2C, one is B2B with different emails. So if I get an email towards info, it will hit the B2C. If it is a business that sent me towards the B2B email, it will create a lead under the pipeline of the B2B sales team. Okay. Moving on. Leads assignment. Now that you have generated new leads, you need to assign them. So before we do that, let's look at the pipelines of each and every team. So now if I go back to the sales, I'm an administrator, I'm a manager, I'll have access towards the teams themselves. But the salespeople assigned under their own team will not have access towards the other team's pipe. So they don't affect each other. They don't take from each other's pipelines. Everyone's only interested in their own pipe. But as an admin, as a manager, I'll have access towards both. As you can see, I have this pipeline. And on the B2B sales, I have another one. And this could be a different type of pipeline. It could have different stages, different steps, whatever it could be, depending on the scenario and how you deal with B2B. It could be a different approach. You could do that. You could do wholesale. You manage them in a different way. You could have different, let's say, stages or steps. Okay? So now lead assignment. Now, under B2C sales, I'll add a couple of, let's say, salespeople. There's me. I'll add Mary as well. So now there's the two of us. Okay? Under configuration, if you go to settings, rule-based assignment, we have an option here that is really good towards the leads that come through email. When I receive an email from a business, it will create a lead on the system, but it will not add a salesperson automatically to get assigned, basically under the current configuration. So let's assume, let me create a couple of, let me see. Let me create a couple of leads. As if for simulating, I received emails for like B2C orders. So now let's create Ahmed. Let's say 500. Add. Let me create, let's say Khalid. Approach me 250. All of that through email. Jack 300, for example. So now I have 3 extra leads. So each team has separate email aliases. We receive external email through it. Yes. So each team could have an different email alias to receive emails on. And depending on which alias the customer sends to, it will affect each and specific team assigned to that alias. So when leads do come through, a salesperson wouldn't be assigned on it. So like this field would be empty usually. As you can see, now we have all three, Ahmad, Jack, Khalid. And the difference between Ahmad and Jack and Khalid and Jack don't have a contact. Like I don't have any information. I could create a lead without having a contact set assigned on it. But if I do have information and I could create a contact, it will believe, no, this is an opportunity. Now this is serious. If you go to the configuration, rule-based assignment. Periodically assign leads based on priorities and filters. All sales teams will use this setting by default unless specified otherwise. So this is it. I could run it manually or I could run it automatically. So if I'm a type of business where I receive a lot of emails, and you could receive leads from emails, you could receive it from social media, you could receive it from your own website, depending on your scenario, your type of business. But let's say you're a type of company where you get hundreds of leads, like every day, every month. You don't want somebody to manually assign every salesperson towards this, towards a certain criteria. So it's gonna do rule-based assignment is a feature we have on Odoo. It would assign based on priority. So for example, if I assigned Kareem a lead, the next lead will be towards Marie. After Mary gets one, the next one will come back to Kareem, and so on. So running, it could be manual, and I could press on refresh, update. It could assign. If I go back towards the leads, I'll see, let me go towards teams, B2C. I'll see, for example, this opportunity, it assigned it towards me. The next opportunity, it assigned it towards Marie. So it automatically assigned the salespeople based on their workloads, based on priority, and they assigned every lead accordingly. If you have it repeatedly, it would repeat depending on the criteria you have set. So is it every next run, once a day, once an hour, once every minute, and it'll tell you when the next run would be. So this is very useful, especially if you're a type of business where you have thousands of leads to keep up with. This will remove the manual work. Again, like we're using a system to enhance our business, to make it more seamless, to make it easier to follow up through. So in this scenario, leads are getting created automatically from emails. You're not creating the leads manually. Then these leads are getting assigned automatically. Then next, the leads or the opportunities will have activities set on them for your salespeople to follow up on. And if we're following up through this strategy, this plan, we're gonna make sure like every salesperson, the only thing they have to focus on is the activities themselves, like actually calling the client, actually emailing, updating the information on the database. So this will make sure that whatever time the salespeople are using, it's effective time towards getting sales done. Moving on. So again, as manual becomes difficult, we could automatically assign opportunities. Now that we have automatic rule assignment, we could take a look back at the teams themselves. So if we go back to the configuration, sales teams, let's say B2C sales. Now that I have assignment feature turned on, I'll see this kind of information. How many leads in the past 30 days? I'll see the rules. So based on what domain does this system understand that, okay, this lead should be a B2C sale? For example, the example we have on the system, on the scenario over here, it says that they want this every Belgian opportunity to be awarded towards the B2C sales in Belgium. For example, I'm going to save this and I'm going to do a domain. So a domain is a rule or a criteria that the system checks. the system checked this criteria and it's all correct, okay, it will assign it towards the B2C. If it does not comply with this criteria, it will not assign it. So the condition is, for example, we could say country, we could match, let me edit it. So the country, it should equal towards Belgium. It could be multiple countries. If, like, let's say I want to do Spain as well. We have multiple countries assigned towards this domain. Or for this scenario, it's only Belgium. So I'll confirm. So now only the leads under the country Belgium, which have an address in Belgium, will be assigned towards the B2C sales in Belgium, and so on. So this is also why it's important to have as much data filled up as possible. The more data we fill onto Odoo, the better Odoo will be towards our use cases and needs. So if I'm the type of person where I fill up all of the information, I could use country as a filter. I could use different criteria. All of these are different criteria I could set for the system to look at and see if it could be assigned towards this theme or not. Okay. Moving on. So now we could generate leads. Your director wants to significantly increase the number of leads in the pipeline. You have reached the end of prospecting for today. However, you find a trick to generate more leads. So as I said, there is multiple ways to generate leads. That's the most important thing. We need to generate as much leads as we can. Of course, every lead could be a potential sale. To repeat, the ways to generate leads, the first one is through our own website. If we have our Odoo website, it could create leads for us. And it could get generated manually. If I'm calling customers, clients, manually getting their information, listing it down and opening the Odoo system and adding them. Email, if I'm receiving any email, or WhatsApp as well. If you have WhatsApp integration implemented onto Odoo, you could receive a WhatsApp message, you could receive an email, and this could generate a lead. WhatsApp is very used in Lebanon, so this could be useful. And fourth is the generate lead button over here. The generate lead button would scrape information from, let's put Belgium for this scenario instead of Qatar. Belgium, it's going to scrape data online and generate leads from there. For example, if I want a specific industry, I'm a drone selling company, but maybe, let's say, consumers or commercial, whatever it could be, these type of industries. I could filter on size. If I'm dealing with companies that I only want to deal with VIP, very important companies, I could only look for companies with like 200 plus employees, for example, and generate leads. And it did look at, let's say, for example, it added these 3 new opportunities. Let me open one of them. You'll see from where it got all of the information. It got the email, phone number, it took the website, address, all of the information got created. And this is like a real company in Belgium. And it assigned it automatically towards me. For the other one, as well, you could see all of the information added, all of the industries they're interested in. So in this scenario, in this idea, you could have this generate leads would be useful for you if you're the type of business where you struggle to create your own leads, to generate your own. The system or Odoo would help you in getting leads online. But again, it's up to me for now to get all of this information, to do the cold call, to talk to them, to sell them, to put them our idea, and hopefully close the sale. Okay. So now part 5, creating the quote. Let's say I've been working all day, all month, all week with this lead. It became an opportunity. Now I believe I could close the sale. To be able to build up a quotation, you need to have the sales module installed. So I've already done that on the system. You'll see this is the sales module. Will we receive a certificate of attendance at the end of this training? From my knowledge myself, I don't know if there's a certificate, but if there is, you'd receive it by email after the session ends for the people who enrolled. But for me, I'm not sure. I could check after the session. So you're learning you're learning a lot of information regarding Odoo and CRM, and I'm here if you have any questions regarding anything, regarding the project, the business, the ideas, CRM especially. Hopefully, I could help. So you have my valuable time. So coming back to the sales module, it's another complete different module. You could have again users only accessing the CRM. You could have users only accessing the sales as without the CRM. Here you could create quotations. You could follow up on these quotations, see if they confirmed it. The client sent us a PO. We send them a sales order. We follow up through with the delivery. We follow up through with the invoice. We get the invoice paid and so on. It's better to use tags on opportunities to sign if C2C or B2C. Yeah, so again, tags are very important. Tags are very, very useful. You could turn on the right on the menu. You could add all the filters that you need to look at. You could see all of the tags here. If I have a tag here, B2C, B2C. You could have a tag, and something very important to note: these tags are on the CRM module. They're not the same tags as the tags on the contact itself. So this tag is different than the tag on the CRM module. So tags could be used in multiple different stages, multiple locations, and they could benefit the business by filtering over here. For example, I could filter by tag, group by tag. I'll see all of the B2C. I'll see all of the none. I could put tags by industry and so on. This is my favorite thing about Odoo. It's the search bar, the filtering. You could filter regarding anything, almost anything. You could group by different salespeople, salespersons, and so on. You could see, and so on. It's very useful, extremely useful, as you can see. So now we're coming back to the sales app. Once we've installed it, we have to create the products that we're selling. So we're a drone company, so we're gonna create these couple of products. I'll go to products, new. I'm gonna add the barcode, drone. Okay. So now that I added the barcode, it added the information here, product, IC drone. And so on. When creating a product, it's super important to make sure that you've configured it correctly. Because like on Odoo, or any business in general, we could sell different types of products. We have goods, service, combo. So what's the difference between goods, service, and combo? Goods are usually the physical inventory, the goods, physical goods that you sell. They're listed on your shops. It could be your products that you manufacture, the products that you sell and buy and sell, and so on. A service, as the name suggests, it's the services that you do. Consulting, maybe you have planning, maybe you sell advisory services. Maybe, for example, you do a mix of both. You sell products, but you also sell a consultation. So these are the services. Goods, you track you could track their inventory based on their quantities. You track them if you have the inventory module. Services, you do not track. They're a service. They're infinite. combo is a product that could be a mix of both. But for now, like the product we created, the goods, this drone, we added the barcode. The system was able to read the barcode and get all of the other information from the internet. We have a sales price, and let's say 2,000, and it costs 2,000, and it costs us 1850. In Qatar, there's no tax, but if we had the localization for Lebanon or like localization for UAE, tax would be set on the product. We could have a category, for example, goods category. We could have an internal reference. A reference is how we reference this product. The barcode is always specific towards every individual product, so no two products could have the same barcode. Let's create another product. And as you can see, it scraped the web picture, it scraped the information, it took the product name. Let me put the prices. 125, 100. Category, it's also goods. I'll create a new one. For the last one, it's the 1 year warranty. So for the 1 year warranty, it's not goods, it's a service. If they want warranty, we could add it to the order. 75, 50. And the service could create an action as well. It create a task, project, but this is for some other day. But like even services, it's fully fledged on the system. You could, if your business is mainly services, we could accommodate that with using Odoo and all of its software. Category, I'll put it services and save. So this is it. I've created my products. I've created the warranty. I'll move on with the categories. As you can see, I used the category goods, but in this scenario, they want to have a more structured categories. And product categories are very important as, again, you're selling multiple things. You're selling drones, you're selling accessories. You want to know the performance of drones versus the performance of accessories and so on. So in this scenario, we're going to create new categories. So you go to configuration, how to change the picture on the product. You press on the product, you press on the picture, you edit, you upload the picture, whatever it is. You upload the picture, it gets uploaded. For example, the 1 year warranty, I press on the edit. I'll upload this as an example. It gets saved. And this is how you do it. And pictures are used mainly for internal reference, so you better understand or visualize what the product is. But if you have e-commerce, if you have a website, you could also upload pictures so the products would appear on your website. So it's useful. It's nice to have. So going to the configuration categories, we're going to create new ones. We're going to create drones. And we have a category and we have a parent category. We could have the parent category be the goods. So under goods, we could have drones. As you can see now, it's under goods. We could have accessories. And we could have spare parts. So you can see I created 3 new categories that could assign the products under them. So this is drone, this is the controller, I think it's accessories. This I'll have it as drones. Yeah, and let's move on. So in this example, we have an Excel file. I'm not gonna import it, but I'm gonna showcase an example, or let me import it, no worries, it's easy. As you can see, we could, like how we've been doing leads, we were creating them manually. How we've been creating products, we've been doing them manually, but let's say you're a business, you're an existing business. You already have thousands of products. You already have thousands of leads. When you start using Odoo, you wouldn't have to manually enter each and every product by yourself. There is a way to import them. So importing through an Excel file like this one. Let me create a copy. Let me download it. And let me try to import this file. So to import on Odoo, for example, we're importing new products. So we need to be on the product page. You can press on the gear icon and import records. You could press on the upload data file and choose the Excel file that we're working on. And as you can see, every product has its, like for example, the first column is name. On the system, the system automatically read name and chose the name. Image, sales price, cost, and so on. Before I import, I always test. Make sure that everything seems valid. If everything is valid, that means when I import, it's gonna work. I'll import. And it created all of these products through the import automatically. And this is how I import, especially when there's an existing business, thousands of information, thousands of data. This is what I mainly do. I always import to Excel. It's way faster, cleaner, and simpler. And you could make sure that all of the information is correct. Okay? So the quotation. Julian Dubois seems quite interested in drones. So you send him a new quotation from the sales application. Expiration in 1 month, payment terms 30 days, products, 5 drones, 1 pair of remote controller sticks, and a 1-year warranty. And since he's a new customer, I'm gonna give him a 5% discount. So now I'm gonna build the sales order based on my negotiations with Julian and how we're proceeding with the software, with this product, with the business. So I'm gonna create a new quotation, going back to orders, quotations. I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna put the customer Julian. I could have different price lists. I could have a normal price list, a VIP price list. I could have payment terms, immediate, 15, 30, 45. I could add new ones as well. I could add a product. Here I could type the product manually, or I could search more and choose it. Or I could also use the catalog. The catalog will make it easier for me to just look at the products. What did they want? He wanted 5 RC drones. RC. So he needs 5. Okay. And he also wanted a remote controller. Remote. And the 1-year warranty. 1-year warranty. Okay, so for your question, in the image you had a number. How does Odoo know how to translate this number into an actual image? So for people who understand a bit technical more, this number is a base 64 number. So it's an image. You could change it to a base 64 format, and then you could add it to the Excel sheet. If you do that, when you import, the system could read the base 64 and generate the image. This is a bit technical. Usually you just upload it manually the way I showed you before. You press on the image section on the product and you upload an image. It's way simpler. So now I've added all of the products that Julian wanted. 5 RC drones, 1 remote, 1-year warranty. And in this scenario, they said that we want to give him a 5% discount. And I don't have the discount option here turned on. I'll have to go to the configurations and turn that option so it will appear. So it's discounts. I type on the search button and I found it, or I could scroll down from the sales settings until I find discounts, which is over here. Let's see. Now that I have discounts turned on, I have this discount button, or I could do it per product. For example, only 5% on this product, or I could have it on all order lines. Applied like this. It could be like this, 5% on everything. Or it could be as well 5% global discount. So it's like an extra line, 5%, depending on how you as a business like to showcase discounts. Or as finally, it could be a fixed amount. For example, 510. Apply. So this is how it's usually done. This is how discounts could be given on the system. For this scenario, I'm going to give on all order lines a 5% discount. Like this. Okay. And now this is still in quotation stage. I could send it through email, and this is how it looks like. This is the design of my quotation. I could change the design if I want to. So these are the standard layouts. I could add information, address, terms and conditions, tagline, whatever it could be. And I could save. So this is the email. This is a standard template. Your quotation amounting for this amount is sent with it attached. If I open it, this is how it looks like. And I could send this quotation right away to this client. By pressing on send, it will send an email. As you can see. And this email, again, and everything I've done so far on the sales order is listed on the right. As you can see. So you know exactly who did what. You always have track. You're never lost. So I send this sales order, and you see the stage shift to quotation sent. So let's move on. From quote to order. In order to give you an idea of sending you to the client, okay. So there you accept the sign. So now, other than sending through email, you could download it and send it through WhatsApp. Or if you have WhatsApp integrated, you could send it through WhatsApp directly from here. As you can see. Another way of doing it is through the preview. So here on the preview, you could see all of the information that we've done. He could accept and sign from this page as well. If you want an electronic link to be showcased towards the client, if he's like, for example, you do it on a tablet or something, he could accept and sign, accept and sign. Back to edit mode. As you can see, the order has been signed by Julian and it got converted towards a sales order. Let me see the questions. Our lead group is not available from the drop-down box in our case polling. How can we generate leads automatically? Sure. To be honest, regarding the generate leads, not every industry is purely listed here. So it's a bit general. But you could try your best by generating like a huge amount of leads, and some of them would be towards what you need. But this is not usually the main way of how people generate leads. It's usually you get contacted, people email you, people send you on WhatsApp, and so on. Is this global discount broken down on all items in my invoice? Can I see it in my financial reporting when I'm checking profit margin on items, or will it only be on invoice as a whole in these? As you can see, it depends on the way you configure it. So in this scenario, it's per product line. So this product's profit will be adjusted, reflected based on this discount. But if it was a global discount or a fixed amount, it will not be per the product line, it will be on the order itself. So if it will only reflect on the product's profitability itself, the specific product is only if it's on the line itself. On this line itself, you'll see 5%. Okay, then this profitability will be adjusted based on this discount. Hopefully, I made it clear. If I create a new quotation for a new customer, does it appear in the CRM app? So in the scenario of a sales order creating a CRM, it does not. But the other way around, from the CRM, I could create a quotation directly from here. And once I create one, for example, I'll confirm this. If you go back, you'll see that a quotation could be connected towards this. You could create it from here. You could create a quotation, for example, save it. You can see all of the quotations. You can see all of the orders. So I confirmed the one order just now. I created one quotation. It's listed here. So for the CRM, you usually create the sales order, not the other way around. The quotation, we'll see it on sales. You can see it also from the, yeah, exactly, like I just said. The price list before the discount is not shown in the quote preview. So in the quote preview, you said, I mean the main item price before the discount. So the price list is set beforehand, so like ahead of time. When you see the price list here, this price list could have its own price. The product itself could have its own selling price. So I could have 35 here, but on my price list, if I go to price list, I could have a different price for this product. I see. For example, I could have here it's 45. But even on the price list itself, I could have discount or formula. I think we're gonna go into it a bit later down this session. If not, I'll come back to it. But like a price list, a product could have a price from its own, or it could have it from the price list. And on the sales order itself, if you give a discount, it will have a different price from all of the previous two. So now we've had an order, we confirmed it. For, let's say, in our business, we want a pro forma invoice. But that as well is an option that we could turn on from the settings. As you can see the settings, we have a lot of different extra tools that we could use on the system that could help us adjust it towards our company needs, as you can see. So if I go to general settings, type pro forma invoice. So I could turn on a pro forma invoice option because there is some businesses that like to send a pro forma invoice, and once the client confirms, they would send the actual invoice. So if we go back to the first order, now we have send pro forma invoice option added on the system. This is the pro forma. See, I didn't configure it. It automatically took the information from my system, it took information from the layout, the address, the design, everything, and created this pro forma invoice that is connected to the sales order. And I could send it as well. Okay. Signature templates. So something very useful with this type of businesses, we have a lot of documents to sign. So in this scenario, we'll need to download the signing module. The signing module is like Adobe Acrobat, where you could upload PDFs, get them signed, and get signatures on it, and so on. Let me see the questions. The price before the discount is not shown. Okay, we talked about that. Are we gonna in the price list? Okay, before we go to the sign, let me talk a bit more about the price list because I think we're not gonna talk about it that well. So on the price list now, there is multiple ways to showcase a discount for the customer. Firstly, do you want the customer to see the discount? If you want the customer to see the discount, you add it on the price list itself or on the sales order. Because as you saw, like on the quotation here, you see this is a 5% discount. Like it shows on the quotation when we did it on the quotation. Here as well, if it's in the discount button on the price list, he'll see it on the quotation as well. He will see this information. But if you choose formula and you have a discount here, if you choose formula, it will not appear to the customer. If you're like, you want to give him a discount, but for it not to show like he received a discount, you could adjust it from the price list over here and add 5%. And the formula option is good. You could change based on sales price or the cost. If you have a rounding off, if you have an extra fee. And these are like scenarios, examples to make it more clear. And you could do it on a specific product or like on all products, or is it a specific category? Only on the drones, I want to give, for example, a 10% discount. For example, I want for the other category, I want to give a 5% discount. But this discount versus this discount, this one will not be showcased. while this one, it will showcase on the quotation. This is priceless. And I could have multiple price lists. For example, I have a VIP one. So let's say this one is the VIP one. And the previous one, let's keep it the default one. So now, if I go to quotations orders, I could change and update. Okay. And this product should we have, let's say, spare parts. Okay. Let me do it again. Update. Okay, so it added a discount. It added the discount on this product without showcasing that it is a discount. Just added as if this is the price, selling price. So this is how prices work. And I could have on the contact itself, under sales and purchase, I could have the standard price list for this client. So every time he purchases from me, the system will automatically choose the correct prices that is assigned on him. Okay. And for e-commerce, we're gonna not talk about e-commerce today, but we're gonna talk about forms. So like when you have a form on the website, how it could generate a CRM lead. That is basically it for. And there is another academy for e-commerce that would go in detail with anything related to e-commerce. So now coming back to our topic, which is the sign module, because like throughout our customer relationship, through the CRM, we discussed enhancing it. We've talked about creating a sales order and sending an invoice from the sales order and so on. Another part of our process, usually with customers, we have contracts that need to be signed, need to be sent, signed on, stamped, memorized onto our system. So this is, let's try a sample contract. This is a scenario where I could have a contract, customer name, date, information, company signature is always listed, customer signature. So now I want to fill in on this contract where the client should fill information. For example, then I'll put then under the customer name, I'll add the field name over here. As you can see, on the date, I'll add date. I'll add date. In the customer signature, I'll put signatures. There is sometimes people that like to have initials listed over as well. We could do that as well. For example, here. And let's say this is how I want my document to be. I always want it to be signed with all of these information. Now that I have this document, wait, my bad. Yeah, okay. Save and close. So now I'll have a template. This is a sample contract that I'll have always listed. I could send it towards individuals, they could sign it, and I could have a record of this document being signed. I could do it from the signing app, I could do it from the sales app, but let me go through the flow from the CRM from the beginning. Let's say this opportunity. I've worked with it, I've enriched it, it reached the second stage. And now that it's an opportunity that I'm gonna sell, it's gonna go head towards proposition. I'm gonna create a new quotation for him. I'm gonna add the product that they're purchasing from us, for example. And I'm gonna save it. Now that it's an opportunity like this, you'll see a quotation is connected towards it. This quotation, let's say I want to send them a template for them to sign. I'll send them a sample contract. If I have a template, I could send it through this email. Please sign this contract with your information to proceed with the order. Send. In this scenario, I send them the sign request. If you open it, I'll preview it. You'll see that this is how it's going to look like towards the customer. And then in his email, he'll be able to sign this document. So he'll have this document signed. As you can see, like this is the preview, waiting signature. He could download it. He could sign it. When he opens it from his system, he'll be able to sign it. From his email, he'll be able to sign it, and only him he'll be able to sign it. As we want to make sure that whatever information is listed on this order will be related towards him. So now I have this document. Let me look at the signing app. I sent it through the sales order. If I go back to the signing app, I'll see this document that I sent for him to sign it. It will be listed here, and the status to sign yet. The moment this customer signs it, it will update on my system. It will update over here, and it will update on the sales app over here. It will tell us when the customer signed the document itself. Okay. Okay, we did this. Manage your sales, manage your discounts. So we discussed discounts. Now we want to look at margin. So let's go back to configurations, margins. So now some customers, can I make a new document in the sign app as a quotation template? We have quotation templates. So if we go to quotation templates, we could have quotation templates. And on the quotation template, you could create your own first page and last page. Let's go to the quotation template to create a new one. You could add all of the information, and this will be added towards the PDF code builder, for example, as well. You could upload a header and a footer, and the quotation template, you could add this header and footer. And so that means you'll have a standard quotation all the time. So I'm not sure if we're gonna look into it today, but if there is time, I would. Going back to margins, now that I added the margin feature on, turned it on, I'll find this field available for me. So it's tell me how much profit I'm getting from this order as a whole. And it depends as well on the selling price and the cost that you've set on the product. Okay. Moving on. Promotions. So if we turn on promotions, we could create our own promotions, loyalty, gift cards, and so on. Discounts and loyalty. So in this section, I could have discounts and loyalty. On the next section, I could have gift cards and e-wallets. But for this scenario, we're gonna look at a new, or like you could press one of those promotion program. Let's do a promotional program. Promotion condition: if the client spends more than, let's say, 1,000 Qatari riyal, I could say on specific products, the reward is 10% on the entire discount, for example. This is the reward. So the condition rule is if he spends 1,000, the reward is 10%. And I could limit usage for each user. I could put a start date and end date. For example, the past week there was Eid. So a lot of my customers had Eid promotions going on where they did discounts. And you could set it on a specific price list as well. So now that I have this promotional program turned on, I could go to orders over here. The client doesn't need to resend the signed contract. No, the moment he signs it, it'll upload on the system because he signs it through a link, through a website. It's the same link I just showcased before. For example, let me send a new one here. For example. So this sign request, you could resend it to him if he didn't receive it. You could resend. Here you could preview it. You could this is the way it will look like for the client. He could sign it from here. So the moment he signs it, he add like you just press on this couple of places, it will upload onto the system automatically. It's like he signs it through a website link. So coming back towards, let me create a new sales order. Let me duplicate this one. So now that we create a new order, and this order is above 1,000. So a reward option is available for us. So I pressed on it, and it added the reward, which is if it's above 1,000, get a 10% discount based on the promotion that we've done. Okay, so let's go on to the next part. So sometimes you could have as well coupon codes if you believe like you're the type of business where you could have referrals for friends and family. It could help with your marketing, because as well on Odoo you could do your own marketing. You could send out these promotional offers, subscribe to our email newsletter. You could get this coupon promotion and so on. We could create that as well. So like a coupon, for us to create a coupon code, you need to go to this kind of loyalty. Let's create a new one. Coupons, 10%. Let's say 10% off. We could have a condition rule. One, they could use it. If they buy more than one item, they could have 10% off. That could generate coupons. I could say how many I want to generate. I could generate for a selected customer or anonymous, whoever has the code, they could use it. And I could generate. Example, 10% off. Generate. So this coupon got generated. This is the code of the coupon code. So if the client or customer uses this coupon code on their order, they could get a discount. As we can see, let's test it out together. I could put it over here and apply. Okay, there's already a discount. Apply. So now I got another 10. I got a 10% discount because of the coupon code, instead of because the clients could receive it through emails, they could see it through marketing. Maybe you could have a coupon code for friends and family, whatever the case could be. Moving on, managing your sales thanks to price lists. So now in price lists as well, like I just showcased, you could have different price lists for B2B, for default price lists, and you could set the price list on the contacts. So like, for example, we were talking about tags and how useful they could be. If I go back to contacts and filter by tag, B2B, I could go to every B2B and add on it a new price list called B2B price list. B2B price list, which has like a 10% discount on all of our products. So I could add it towards every B2B contact that I'm working with. Well, on the B2C ones, let's give them the VIP price list. As you can see, like tags help me easily navigate all of my contacts and adjust them based on what I need to adjust them on. How can we change the quotation template and add fields if needed? Okay. If it doesn't get explained throughout the session, I'll try to my best to explain it before we close today. Remind me, I'll come back to it. So we talked about price lists with discounts, price lists and models. We talked about creating quotations, we're adding price lists, analysis of your sale. So let's import some extra orders on the system just so we have things to analyze. So we're gonna download this order and download this Excel sheet. So again, I could create products to import, I could create leads to import, I could create sales orders. records, upload. Let me test. Okay, it tells me there's no customers like this. Create new ones. Okay, import. So now I have all of these new extra orders on the system. So I have like 34 orders. Now I'd like to analyze them. So we go to reporting and we want to analyze the sales orders that got created per month. So I'll go to reporting, sales. Here I'll see the graph view. I have the pivot view and I have the line view. Let's use the pivot view for now. I have this pivot. I'll measure first, not the quantity ordered. Let's say the quantity, okay, order versus and the total price. Let's see the quantity order and the total price. And I want to filter by salesperson. And let's do it, for example, no, let's do the salesperson on the top. Let's do per month as well. So now I'll see like every month, every salesperson, and I could switch them from here. I could have different types of metrics to measure on. I could do the search filter. I could have a lot of things. If I want to see like how did the system get the 9,800 number, I could press on it and see all of the orders that led us to the point of getting this total. So now, can I have 5 price lists, but 3 of which are visible to sales team 1 and the other 2 are visible to sales team 2? So the sales teams themselves, they're not the people who assign the price list. It's the person who's managing the system. He would assign the price list. So I could create these price lists, but as a salesperson, I'm just going to create a new quotation. It will automatically choose the price list. It will... he's not usually responsible for changing it, but he'll need to have the ability to change it in case of this customer was set on the wrong price list. You don't want to affect his experience in selling. You don't want to affect the end customer experience. You need to go to for each client under B2B and B2C. No, you don't need to. I was just showing you how to do it one way. There is multiple ways of mass uploading or adjusting information. For example, tags, city, street, for example. All of these are information. For example, let me do a group by country. France. I could adjust these manually from here. You don't need to enter, and I could update every data at once. I could do it multiple times. I could adjust it like individually. So like you don't need to enter every time and change it. Like it's easy to change, easy to update. No. So choosing if you're limiting, it will always appear. But for example, in this company, because it's like these are only the available price lists. You could have multiple companies with own separate price lists and information and so on. But you cannot. You could limit it by country, for example, for this only to be available in, for example, Lebanon, for example, or like Levant, Middle East. Are we not listed here? GCC. Okay, for example, we'll choose the GCC. Like this price is only available for country groups in GCC. That's the only limiting you could do really on price list. But usually, like you have power control because price list. Okay, I could set a price list, but even though I set a price list on an order, I could adjust the price manually if I want by adjusting. Even though I have this price list doesn't match this price, but I could adjust it manually. But there's no reason really to limit this feature. In the sales section, when checking the promotions, did not find the coupons and gift cards, maybe because we still don't add the inventory or start selling. So make sure that you turn it on in the configuration. So configuration settings, turn on promotions, loyalty, and gift card. Make sure this is turned on. And then go to products. You'll find these two options available. When you press on discount and loyalty, you'll find promotions, coupons, loyalty cards, and so on. I don't have inventory installed in this database, but it's not related. So we discussed this profitability analysis. So this is like now the manager is looking for a specific product and wants to know the profitability of a specific product. So we're gonna go to reporting products. Here we could see like one specific, we could look at this product's quantity ordered. So now we could do a report by the product, margin, total. Like I could have everything, almost any metric that you think of, I could analyze by. I could see all of the information regarding this product. And the same for like a line graph. You could see like quantity ordered. You could change the measurements here, total, and so on, delivered, and whatever it could be, margin, whatever it could be. So you could use the reporting tools basically. Product variants. So now we're gonna talk about some products. For example, this DJI glasses, they could come in multiple colors or sizes. So for that, we could have variants. So variants basically are different variations of one product. So we could, once we turn on variants in the configuration, attributes will pop up. We could have color. We could have different colors. For example, red, blue, black. For example, we could have different sizes. Small, medium, large. And on products itself, I could assign multiple different variance values. So I could have this product in red and blue. I could have it in small and large. Save. So the moment I adjusted this product under attributes and variants, 4 variants came up. So I could have small red, small large, blue small, blue large of this product itself. Okay? And you could sell these products individually. You could track the quantity in your system individually. You could see the performance individually of each different color or value or variation. So you'd know like which variant is the most popular and so on. Moving on, advanced configurations. So the website. We've been talking about how to get CRM leads. Another big part of Odoo is the website itself. So you could have your own website. So I'm going to install this website module so we could look at it together. Let's say you're a studio, you're a bowling center, you're a yoga session, Pilates, whatever. You could have a website for reservations. Let's say you're like a marketplace, you're like Amazon, like you're like, you sell products online. You could have an e-commerce. Let's say you're a doctor, you're a clinic, you could have consultation forms filled up. So depending on the type of business, you could have your own website. I could say like this is an online store for my drone electronic store, let's say. Let's say I get leads. Choose a color palette. Let's go with our own company's color palette. I'll build my website. I'll choose the first one. And currently, like I've just chosen a couple of options. This is the newest version, 19.3. But it's very similar to 19.0. So whatever version Odoo 19 you're using, it's almost the same thing. And we have yearly releases with a lot of updates. I believe Odoo 20 coming up in September, end of September, will be really good, especially for like this type of businesses that utilize a lot of like the whole sales flow. There's a lot of advancements, and for e-commerce especially, this would be useful. But for CRM, it's fully fledged. It's really good. You could utilize it really well. Like we use it ourselves And we track like hundreds of thousands of data like a day. There's a lot of data going through it, and it's all organized. It's really useful. It's really beneficial. And it's really good to attend such a session, so you'll be able to utilize it for your own company. So Odoo currently is building our website. So now we have our own website for this business. And we have this shop where we could publish our own product and so on. We could have an appointment. We could have a contact us page. Yes, you could change the translations on the website. I think it's from the e-commerce page somewhere over here. But there is a way to change the language of everything on the system. When we edit, you could edit almost everything and so on. So now we have a form page. Now this form page, I wanted to create every time it gets filled, I want a lead to be created. So I'm gonna press on the button, submit button over here. And on the right here, I'm gonna find action, send an email, create an opportunity. So on this button, when I press on it, I want to have it create an action, which is create an opportunity on my system. I could have it assign it to someone specific. I could have it assigned to a salesperson that's specific, and so on. Now I just created, create an opportunity and save. So now if I submit this, test, it should create a lead back in my CRM, which is this one. And it got created from the website with all of the information I had. And Odoo is, regarding the language, Odoo, like the moment you change languages on your system from my preferences, it translates everything. As you can see, everything is translated to Arabic. The products themselves, for example, need to have their own Arabic name added to it. So if you press on this product, you could press on over here, you could change the Arabic name, English, French. So when you sell in Arabic, it could have the Arabic product listed instead of English. I'm gonna bring it back towards English so everyone understands. Refresh. Okay, perfect. So moving on, after we created the form, we saw how a lead gets created, and basically that's it. We were able to create leads from our website or through email or through generation automatically or manual as well. We explored every option, and we could do through importing as well, as you saw. Negotiation, we've seen how a lead gets turned to an opportunity, how we could have different pipelines, different stages, how we could add more information, things are high priority, things are low, how we could set activities, and how for these activities to be set out automatically. Sales app, so through the sales module, we were able to create products, generate quotations, send a contract to be signed, send the sales order, generate a pro forma invoice, give discounts, promotions, loyalty points. And finally, this is the full final flow of regarding from the moment a customer or a client or a business interacts with your business, and then when you finalize and get paid and you send out the invoice. So this is the entire flow, and this is how you do it on Odoo. Hopefully this was beneficial. For now, I'm just gonna focus on the Q&A. If you have any questions, before I look at the questions on the YouTube chat, let me see if there's any questions on the website, if somebody actually submitted any questions on the Q&A pad. I doubt, but let me see. Okay, perfect. So if you have any questions, just type it out in chat. We're going to look at it. Can I choose images for the website? Yes, you can. If you go to the website, You just press on edit, and you could edit almost everything from every part of every table, every part, every block. You could add a new block. You could change the theme. For this, for example, for this block, you could replace the image. You could search for it online. Drones. Hopefully, this video would stay on YouTube. I'd assume so. For example, I'm a drone business. I like this picture. Now, this is the new background. Save. So the moment you open my website, you'll find this as the main background. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully, this recorded session would be provided or would be uploaded on YouTube. I'll make sure of that with the marketing team. Any other questions? Any questions about anything really? Hopefully, I could help. I have years of knowledge. I could hopefully help. Uh, is there anything we haven't? Sure, I'll make sure if they could send that through marketing. I'll get back to you on that. But again, one tip for me, like how me myself I started learning Odoo. YouTube, there's a lot of content. There's a lot of guides and our own Odoo documentation. There's a lot of information you could access. If you head to odoo.com, go to community. All of this is valuable information regarding anything Odoo. If you go to the documentation, for example, there's a lot of guides. You could see a lot of tools, tutorials on everything. If I want to know how to do a website, I go to the website, look at website design structure. There's a lot of information on anything. And you could explore it like this, what I'm doing, like step by step. But also, like if you feel like you want to learn something, I could just try building blocks, Odoo website on Google, and you would reach the same page. So wherever you feel stuck, always try to Google it, try to find the documentation. It's always listed, and depending on the version on top right, you could change the version. So if you're still on Odoo 18, you could see the documentation related to that, and so on. In English and translate to Arabic. With the Arabic font and translation is so bad, I'm stuck. How to change the Arabic font? I'm not in the website team, so it's been a while since I've used the website, but I think it's somewhere regarding, let me check it with you, site, maybe it's menu editor, it's not in the menu editor, let's see, properties, there is a way, there's definitely a way, but for me, like I'm not, we don't do websites, me personally. I'll get back to you on this one, but let me see. Change language on Odoo website. If I Google this, I think, as you can see, there's a lot of videos. You could change languages here. There's a lot of information on Odoo. You could access that. Any questions related to the CRM part of the session? I believe it was super easy. I believe like we went through a lot of things. How did you study for Odoo certificate? Basically, I went through a lot of the case studies that are listed online. And a good thing to note is there's a lot of information on Odoo itself. So I went on every page. Like I went through every page of Odoo. I looked at it. I understood what every feature offers. I went through the checkboxes here. I turned them on. I saw like what feature gets turned on Odoo, and you'd understand it. Like especially when you apply real world scenarios. Like look at your own business. How could I reflect my own business on Odoo? You'll be able to understand it. It's very simple, very straightforward. I don't believe it's that difficult.
But you could change the language from here for the website, the default language. Let's look at the website again. If we edit one part, background content. Yeah, there must be some sort of way, but I can't find it for some reason. But there is a way. I'm sure of it. Like, yeah, I do understand some Arabic translations are one to one. But I guess if there's no more questions, thank you all for attending. Hopefully, it was a good session. If you have anything, you could ask me now. But if not, thank you all for attending. Hopefully, we've learned a thing or two on how to do our CRM on Odoo. Thank you all. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Goodbye. Good